cool? Yeah, very cool. Well, greetings from Madison Southern High School. We're here with our old buddy, Russ Carson Jr. How's it going, Russ?
Doing just fine. How about yourself?
Pretty good. We're here to do a little, we did a couple weeks ago, we did a pole vaulting 101 with Wyatt Stewart over at Madison Central. We thought we'd like to come over here. You guys have got some of the best jumpers as far as track and field athletes in this area. So we're going to go over here and do a little 101 with the jumping events, high jump, long jump, and triple jump. So you're the man, right?
I'm not the man. They are the man and the woman over there. We got, we had 4 kids that placed at indoor state this year, and one of our better girl high jumpers wasn't even there. So we've got a pretty good jump squad.
Yeah. Well, of course, obviously your son Fuzz has gone on to Louisville to compete at the Division I level in a lot of these events. But what we kind of want to do with these kind of things is kind of show people how this works and kind of the ins and outs of this. And I'm very interested to learn a lot of things too. We did the one with Wyatt, and it was very interesting to hear what he had to say. And so, as the as the assistant over here, but kind of the jump guy, you kind of focus more on the jumping events. So we're going to walk through all 3 events. Braden unfortunately is injured and can't actually jump for us today, but we'll show us kind of how this works. And then Kaylin Wright is also here, and she's going to show us triple and long jump as well. So let's start off with the high jump. So when you have kids first come out who maybe have never done this before, and it's obviously we're just watching you work with a young lady, and it's not a normal thing to do, and it's something you have to kind of condition your body to do. So what's kind of the first thing when somebody comes out and says they want to do the high jump, how do you approach that with them?
Well, most kids want to be jumpers because jumpers don't have to do sprints all the time.
Don't have to run.
They do have to do sprints, but not as much. So usually in the beginning of the season, everybody wants to jump, and the kids will tell you that we fire them, and so nope, you're fired. You're just looking for raw talent. But jumping is kind of like, sprints are your race horses, but so are the jumps. But the difference is that we're going to add science to it. Mm-hmm. We're going to add a lot of technicalities and movements, and high jump especially is physics. You got the centrifugal force. You got what's called running a J. They'll tell you more about that, but you can't just go up there and jump. You see a lot of these guys that are tremendous athletes in basketball and things like that, and they try high jump, and they look like they were dropped from a building, falling out of the sky or something like that. So there's a lot of science that goes into that. Okay,
so let's start off with, you want to come out here, Fuzz? We'll just kind of, we'll start off with the approach. I mean, obviously you've got to come around this way. We're trying to stay out of the sun here. We have a bright sun here. So when you're thinking about your approach, I see lots of different people kind of line up, come in an angle, different kind of ways. Sure. You've been doing this a long time. What's kind of always been that way you've handled approaching the bar?
The way I've always handled approaching the bar is I always do an 8-step approach. First 4 steps are a bound. You build up speed. On the 4th step, you cross your foot over. That's when you start the lean. That's where where it's called the J curve, where you start to curve over to the bar. And then by the time you hit your 8th step, you're already back here because you started the lean on the 4th step, and you carry that speed that you built in the first 4, and that's when you do your jump.
Yeah. Now you've been doing this for a long time. So how long did it kind of take you to kind of get that? And like we were saying here with your dad, it's not a natural thing people would do.
It took me. I started doing this in 6th grade. It took me probably till my freshman year to actually get it down, what I'm doing, and figure out what's how you're supposed to do it and how you're just not supposed to do it. Yeah. So it took me 3 years to figure that out.
Okay, like I said, we know you can't jump, but if you wouldn't care just to walk through kind of one approach with us here, or do you feel comfortable doing that with your?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. We're just making sure we don't want to have a little bit of an injury, and you don't want to make it worse out here, just kind of goofing around for us. So.
Running in a circle, so you're the outside of my right foot, and then inside side of my left foot, running on that. And you load your arms because they're going to help you lift when you do your jump. So you explode up, you start, it's through the whole body. You extend your ankles all the way up to the hips, and then your shoulders, and then your head. So you gradually raise your body up, and then that's when you do you don't even have to lean back. If you do this correctly, you don't ever have to forcefully lean back. Your body does it for you.
Okay. And it's obviously, I'm assuming when you first do this, it's very scary because you're throwing yourself backwards blindly, basically.
To get over the fear of doing that, I guess, took me a long time to just do it without even thinking about it. So now I don't even think about it at all, and my neck is really strong because of it. So
it's
whatever.
A few falls back on the neck over the
Yeah.
years. Yeah. All right. So typically, when you're maybe this is a better question for Russ, but when you're starting out doing this, kind of what kind of height would you kind of start? Maybe a middle school kid or something. Where would they start off trying to clear?
Middle school kids, usually they start off at the opening height would be 5 foot, and no, that's high school. 4 foot. My bad.
Middle school's a long time ago for you.
Yeah. 4 foot, and so usually when you get to 4'8", 4'10", that's where the really elite middle schoolers start to show up, and then 5 foot and up is just those are your best jumpers that you got.
Yeah. You set the school record last year at the Region meet, right? What was the height there?
6'6".
6'6". So that's it. Where you start off from there, it's kind of unbelievable,
Yeah, I started off. I hit 4'10", 7th grade year. And I was super excited about that, and then 8th grade I hit 5'8". Yeah, and then that summer I hit 5'10". So I was confident going into freshman year. I hit 6'4" freshman year, and then didn't have a sophomore year, COVID.
Yeah.
And then junior year I got 6'6", and that's right around when I started doing decathlon stuff. So.
Yeah. Well, I think what we saw here a minute ago, Russ was working with a young lady. I think part of what we saw with the approach there is also the takeoff point, because I think she was getting a little too close and was hitting the bar on the way up. So talk about the placement of where you want to take off at.
So it's really, really important where your foot is. If you're too close to the mat, you always drive up, and the force, it carries you up and over, but it can also, depending on if you jump into it, I always point my foot at the back corner of that mat, and then I never shoot my leg up. I always go to the side because your body is already starting to curve. So you can see in some of my videos, if you watch them slow motion, you can see by the time I'm already here, I'm already like this. So, and if you're too close to that, you're going to jump into the bar, because you're jumping, this is the bar, you're jumping like this. You want to jump up and over, not like a rainbow. It's a really specific arch, the way it's supposed to be properly. So, and if you're too far away, then you hit it on the way down. So you got to be like a perfect, it takes a lot of fine tuning, to figure out just how close, too far away, like figure out just exactly where your foot should be to the mat.
Yeah, and obviously coming up too, this is it's a controlled approach. You're not sprinting. Obviously, you've done sprinting events, and you
Right.
obviously have some speed, but that's not what we're doing here either. It needs to be under control, I guess.
Right. Yeah. You do first four. I do the bound, which is you just build power and speed. You're not picking up speed, but you're building it so you can just carry it within the second 4 steps. So you don't just start off run. You do the powerful bound, and then once you build the momentum and your legs are activated, then you just carry. The last 4 steps I do aren't necessarily powerful at all, except my takeoff step, because that's when all that momentum and power you've built up there It all goes into that one leg, and then that's when you jump.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that you don't actually bend backwards because it looks like you bend backwards, but you're saying just the natural momentum will just kind of carry you over like that.
You do have to.
Well, to a certain degree, but you're not breaking your back trying.
Right? Yeah. No, you're not
Okay.
forcefully just leaning back. You just bring your head back this much, and just by having your whole body gradually go back, it'll just automatically flip you over.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was it's amazing to watch these guys do this. And you want to go over and do high jump or a long jump and triple jump?
Sure.
Sure. All right. We got Kaylin over there too. So let's go to the high jump and triple jump and the long jump. All right. Moved over here to the pit, and we have with us the most colorful young lady on the Madison Southern track and field team, Kaylin Wright. Thanks so much for taking some time with us.
It's no problem. Thank you.
I'm going to talk about your hair, but
Yeah.
every meet she has a different setup with her hair, so you always know you're there. It's very colorful. I love it. So we obviously you do a lot of different events. 100-meter dash obviously is one of your best events, but you do the two long jump and the triple jump. So I figured we'd talk to you about that a little bit here. So I mean, we'll start off with just the basic layout here. You have two boards,
Yes.
and you can jump from either board.
8-foot board or 12-foot board. So start off with just how you can jump is you always want your foot to be on the board but never over the board, because that's when you start to scratch, and then they don't count the jump at all. So, and then with long jump, you're just doing one jump and then it's straight into the pit.
Yeah, and with the two different boards, kind of how do you decide which board you want to go with?
It is decided by how far you can jump. So let's say if somebody is able to jump 14 feet, then there's no reason for them to be jumping on the 8-foot board, because that's just going to ruin their potential to go further. So jumping from the 12-foot board would force them to go further and potentially may let them get 15 feet or more.
But the short board for the people that can't go very far. Make sure they reach the pit, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, now when you if you're coming from the 12 here, we're going to mark it off. And tell me how far usually you go back, how much you mark it off, and how many steps, and just kind of walk us through that process.
So finding your mark is about the longest and most tedious process that happens when you do any type of jumping event. So, and what we do is we take a measuring tape, we put it on the board, we go down, we do a guesstimate, and mine's at like 82 to 83 feet right now. So I start 83 feet back from the board, and then I run, and then I jump. And that's about how we figure it out too, is we say, here, let's try 72 feet, and then we're going to run and we're going to jump and see if our feet lands on the board. Because when you do the marking, you don't ever actually look at the board. The board is like the least important thing that you have to worry about, because if you get your mark right, your feet will naturally land on the board. So you don't have to worry about it.
So from 82 feet, how many steps are you taking?
I don't count, so I don't know.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Any estimation at all, or does you just know it's a feeling? It's a feeling.
It's a feeling, honestly, because I don't count, because I do the thing where you do in high jump where you bound and then you speed up and then you go faster. So it changes every time, because your mark changes every time, because sometimes it'll be 80 feet, sometimes it'll be 90 feet. So it just depends on the day, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's a very flexible thing.
Yeah. And like we were just saying with Fuzz there, there's a strategy there to the approach. You're not a full-on sprint the whole way.
No, not at all. It starts out with a bound, and that is about 4 steps, just like high jump, and then you want to start speeding up. And then the difference between high jump, though, is when, say I'm doing the long jump, I'll start at like the 36 board, is I'll just start full on sprinting until I hit that board, instead of like just cruising through, but like you would do in high jump.
Yeah, you don't actually looking down, so you're not actually looking at the board when you're coming up.
No, it's always you're always looking at your target or past it, to be honest. Because like if you're looking down at the board, you have to take time to look, and then like I don't know where the pit is anymore. Yeah. So like I'll miss it, because I guarantee you I've done that at least twice. Like Fuzz can probably attest to that too, is you miss the pit when you look at the board.
Yeah. Take off right foot, left foot. I mean, do you have a?
I start off with, I'm weird because I start with my left foot forward, but I jump off of my right foot, which is not what normal people do, because they'll start with their right foot forward and then jump off of their right foot. But that's just what has worked for me, so it's what I do. So.
Okay. And so when when you get into the air, what's kind of the
When I get into the air, that's the funnest part, because it's always what I struggle with, is when you get into the air, the first thing you want to do is you want to throw your chest out and throw your arms up, because that forces you to get higher up in the air. And then when you start falling is when you want to bring your legs out like you're touching your toes, basically, and you're gonna land basically like you're touching your toes. So it's just a very drawn out stretch basically in the air. And what I used to do before I figured out how to do that is what Coach Carson would call getting in the go-tart, where I would basically be in this position when I jumped. It was really funny, and I have a few pictures of them to be honest. But, yeah.
Okay. And then obviously moving to the triple jump, that's a totally different animal. It's for someone who's never done anything like this, it looks so awkward. I mean,
It
it's
is
obviously
very awkward and
something
very
you never do in
dangerous.
normal life.
No, not at all. So it is very awkward, very dangerous. I've hurt my heel twice doing triple jump. So it is something that you very much have to get down pat, or you will hurt yourself. And the biggest difference is you do right, left when you jump, or left, right.
Mm-hmm.
So you're jumping off of one leg twice and the other leg once.
Yeah. And I guess you can kind of walk us through that. You don't have to actually do a full speed whenever you just kind of want to walk us through that there, and because it is very, very awkward looking.
So say I'm like just gonna back up right here. Say I'm going. This is the board I'm starting off of. So I'm gonna go right, left, and then by then I'd be in the pit. And it's very hard to get that down pat when you're going full speed, because it kind of gets confusing. I know some people who do quadruple jumps, so it's yeah.
Like I said, I can't even imagine like when you first try to do that.
It was definitely a challenge to get down pat when I first started it. I'll tell that.
Yeah, and you must even go to meets now and see ladies try to do it.
Yeah, I normally try to help them just because like it's something that you can get hurt in very easily, so I don't want them to do that to themselves. So yeah.
And so the same thing with the marking off there. You kind of have the distance there as well, and kind of.
Yeah, it's the same way marking. It's just different board, so it's going to be farther back, obviously.
All right. Well, so besides being out here and actually doing it over and over again, what kind of training can you do, to help you with these two events?
The biggest thing, especially with triple jump, is we'll get on the turf, because triple jump is very, very hard on the shins, and so jumping on this turf repeatedly is not a good idea. So what we'll do is we'll do the triple jump on the turf to get the form down pat, because the biggest monster in triple jump is the second jump, which is when you're transitioning from your right leg to your left leg, or your left leg to your right leg. And most coaches will say it's a jump, skip, and a bound, which it basically is. But most time when people do the right leg to the left leg, it'll just be a step instead of a jump, and that's where a lot of people lose plenty of distance, because that's how I got my PR. Is I jumped my second step instead of walking it like I normally did. And then with long jump, is the biggest thing is the landing. So we'll practice on the high jump mat, just landing, perfecting the landing, because we practice landing on our butt instead of our feet, and that adds at least, I would say, 2 feet to your jump at minimum when you start landing on your butt instead of your feet.
Yeah, you got to throw your body out there.
You do. You have to throw yourself there. That's how you get far. So.
Yeah, and you have to. The sand is soft, so it doesn't hurt. So.
It doesn't. It's soft for a reason, because I would definitely wouldn't want to jump if it was hard. So. Yeah.
Kind of where are you sitting at right now with your PRs on both events?
So my PR in triple jump is 36 feet, I think 36.6, and then long jump is 16.7 feet. So.
Obviously, like I said, you're a sprinter as well. What do you enjoy more? Or all the above? Shut up, coach over there.
Yeah, that would be asking me to pick out my favorite food. I don't really have one. I like doing them all. So. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Fuzz, come back in here. We'll bring you in here too. You have anything to add to what she talked about the triple and the long jump there? I mean.
She explained it really well by comparing it to the high jump, and the differences in high jump and long jump are probably the least compatible jumps with each other, because they're so different, but they the end result is the same.
Yeah.
So, and same thing with triple jump, how she was talking about the second phase being the most important, because a lot of people, instead of doing a bop, 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 which is how it should sound like, it's like a bop, bop. So they'll do a step in their second just to get to their third leg. So when they go from leg 1 to leg 2, they like to do it as fast as they can because it's uncomfortable. But you just got to focus on doing that, like getting on that second phase, stretching it out as long as you can. And yeah, how she mentioned, we do it on the turf, we'll do it in our socks. So, and we'll do it from there, we'll do it from the field onto the high jump mat. Always practice the landing. Sometimes I hit my head on the goalpost.
That's a good problem to have.
Actually, serious.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for taking some time out here today to show us. That's always interesting to, for people who've never done this before, and including me. And obviously, I know your dad, kind of the de facto jump guy around here, and you guys have had a lot of success. Especially that's been kind of the heart and soul of this team the past couple of years, and you guys have won a lot of first place and stuff in the jump events. So you guys had pretty good luck with it, pretty good success.
Oh, yeah, we've been doing this religiously.
Yeah.
Yeah. 6 years in a row.
6 years.
Yeah. Coming out of Ferristown, both Ferristown kids.
Both Ferristown.
Both Ferristown.
Yeah. You guys will graduate. We won't know what to do. I'll come out here to a track meet, and you guys won't be here, and it'll be like, what's going on out here? They're not here. All right. Well, thanks a bunch again for letting us, taking us through this a little bit and schooling us a little bit. And obviously, you're signing with Louisville. I think I don't know if we can say yet or not, but you're
About to sign with Georgetown.
College. Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah. We didn't know if that was official yet, but so then
Announced.
yeah,
Yes.
it's official. It's official.
You just announced to the whole world.
It's out there. Sunday night when this debuts, you're totally committed after that. So, and you guys have had some other great athletes here also recently commit as well. So you don't have the biggest track team in the world, but you obviously have some very talented kids here. So appreciate you. Yeah.
Cumberland.
Yeah. Got a couple other ones. So.
Yeah, Matthew went to Transy.
Yeah, so it's good success here. So once again, thanks a bunch. I appreciate it. It's very interesting, and I'm just a curious person when it comes to these type of things. And you watch something for all these years, and you wonder how the heck do they do that. And so, but thank you so much. You want to come back in here for a minute, Russ? Close us up here. Finish it out. He's gonna. Well, I mean, like I said, you guys have, going forward here, you're about midway through the season, I guess, and obviously he's been out for a little bit, but you guys have had a pretty good run of success, and you got another all-comers meet coming up, next week over at Central again?
Well, Saturday we're at the AJ's Heart of the Bluegrass there in Mercer County. That's a big time, one of the biggest meets all year long. So then we're at Central. No, we're at North Laurel next Tuesday. So we've been without Kaylin too for jumps for about a month.
Well, she still won the 100 the other night over at Central. So.
Well, it's funny. She ran the 100, and I thought, why is she doing that warm up? Because it was 2 or 3 seconds before anybody else got across the finish line. Well, she was running by herself.
Well, they had you like the last heat or something. I was like, why is she at the very end? So, well, good luck to you guys the rest of the way. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to kind of show us a little bit about what's going on here. And we love to get these track kids some attention. It's one of those sports kind of flies under the radar a little bit. So. And it's a beautiful day, so we get to come out here and hang out. So, thanks, Russ. Thanks, Fuzz. Thanks, Kaylin.